تحياتي أول شيء للكل الموجودين هون.
First and foremost, my greetings for everybody in the name of the Ecumenical Affairs Department of the Middle East Council of Churches. It is the Council of Churches that includes all churches, all historical churches of the Middle East, the Orthodox, the Greek Orthodox, the Evangelical, and the Catholic. We are part of this platform because we believe in the rightness of countering hate speech with studied measurements and best practices to guarantee the happiness of mankind in a reconciliatory way of diversity and differences in race, language, and religion. We all know that even in our churches we have a problem with all the different languages that we use in our ceremonies, but the Council is of the conviction that the diversity of all religious organizations have the duty in this pivotal point in the history of mankind to take action, especially in the area of the Middle East. And to reach this end, they must unite and solidarize to reach all measures possible to confront the hate speech. And this is why they have to acknowledge that they, throughout history, have interpreted many religious texts in order to incite violence and justify these interpretations, which is a sin against God Himself. And all religious institutions have to form positive thinking schools of religions through the forming and the education of future religious leaders that can put forth also religious educational systems that can reach also the means of social communication, and also to use their power in a way, in a productive way and not in a venomous way against each other. To talk to youthful in the way of cohesion, of tolerance, and of solidarization in the framework of youth programs out of the context of culture, religion, languages, for the education of living together and living successfully together. The most effective way in combating hate speech, in the opinion of the Council, is the equality of all believers, equality of all citizens, regardless of color, religion, gender. And this common citizenship can be inclusive for all components, especially for the religious components. No doubt we are in dire need of this in the Middle East, in our countries, in our churches. We have to let go as soon as possible from the language of us, the majority, us, the minority, and we better than others, and go forth to look for a common language of common citizenship and purposes. So we have in the religious council, religious church council, to look at the way of the council of its way since its inception in 1974 in the spreading of the spirit of coexistence and peaceful living, which has always been for and foremost the defender of many causes in the region, especially the Palestinian cause, and was also instrumental in spreading the new ideas of living together, in applying all its services, in giving all its possible measures for this aim. So the Council has worked on disseminating all these measures and implementing it with all partners. The Council is making great efforts to join all thinkers and intellectuals from different components of the society to put forth a new interpretation of the Bible and of the Testament in cooperation with all partners that can be a road map that is testimony of more than 14 centuries of peaceful coexistence in this region. And it is really necessary to recommend the new reading of all religious texts and be honest to come forth with new lessons learned and new measures in combating hate speech for the creation of a beautiful society where everybody lives in a world of cohesiveness without exclusiveness and denigrating anybody else. And this is exactly what the Council of Churches aims at through all its fractions, be it theological or social. And of course, in this crucial time of brutal wars, it is very important for it. I will give you forth my notes. Now that I have been given the floor, I can talk about what happened in Lebanon, what is happening in Lebanon. Of course, I am saluting everybody who was on the streets, who was talking out, who was demanding that rights and duties be equal to all people. And especially, I would like to thank all our priests and patriarchs and bishops for taking the initiative and appealing for listening and hearing the demands out. And this is also a part of dialogue. And they also appealed that people in the demonstrations on the streets be very courageous and be very courteous. And the message is that everybody does this peacefully. Thank you.
I had the pleasure of working with Sister Emily as a fellow, and she always delivered a very critical perspective, and she did not disappoint this time. 4 points she mentioned: the need for a united voice, unified one, to counter hate speech. Second, she's the first speaker right now today to name the need to reconsider the religious interpretation that support hate speech. And this is something that she identified. She called also for a proper education, religious education for the young generation to prevent hate speech, and also said enough with the minority-majority language. We should look at the citizenship language, common citizenship language. And she did a small promotion for Lebanese revolution, expected from an activist. Thank you.